Hey, everything in this video can be found on a public domain in the full disclaimer down below. It's Ashley. Thank you for being here. Special thanks to NIKKI, Shosh, Jazmyn, and Cleondra. Love and blessings your way. I want to start off by saying, what in the world is this? Is this a wax figure? It looks like William and Catherine look normal, but these two look quite waxy, stiff, mannequin-like. I don't know. Maybe it's just a wax figure and I came across it, but it's so strange either way. Let's talk about what's really going on. Megan said to Vogue, I think about how fortunate I felt to be able to have both of my children. I know what it feels like to have a connection to what's growing inside your body. What happens with our bodies is so deeply personal, which can also lead to silence and the stigma. Even though so many of us deal with personal health crisis, I know what miscarriage feels like, which I've talked about publicly. The more we normalize conversations about things that affect our lives and body, the more people are going to understand how necessary it is to have protection in place. This is about a woman's physical safety. It's also about economic justice, individual autonomy, and who we are as a society. Nobody should be forced to make a decision they don't want to make, or is unsafe, or puts their own life in jeopardy. Frankly, whether it's a woman's being put in an unthinkable situation, a woman not ready to start a family, or even a couple who deserve to plan their family in a way that makes the most sense to them, it's about having a choice. It's interesting that here you're talking to two women, one who chose to give birth happily and one who chose not to give birth happily. And we're both prospering because we were able to make our own decisions, our own choices. It's incredible. Just like Texas, she came out talking about gun control. She wanted guns to be controlled. Every bit of this is political. Her stance, her interview with Vogue, Harry being quote-unquote pissed off because women have no rights anymore to choose what they do with their body. Blah, blah, blah. She knows what it's like to bond with a child in utero, yet at the same time, she was lucky enough to have the ability to choose whether or not she wanted it. First of all, that's a crock. I don't believe she's ever bonded with anything in utero. I think maybe bonded with the doctor that took care of that child in utero back in the day. That's how I feel about her. I think her womb's probably shredded to bits due to her lifestyle back in the day. God forgive me. I'm not trying to sound too awfully judgmental, but we are talking about Megan here, and I believe she's used it, as she puts it, as protection. Women need this protection in place. First off, protection kind of starts before this child starts to be knitted in the womb by Christ, and that's just my opinion, and if you don't like it, you don't have to stick around. I love you. But dang, I don't want to inflict my views on anybody, but I'm being honest on how I feel. Protection, you can go to any drugstore and get protection. You can go to any health department and get protection free of charge. IUD, birth control pills, foam, condoms. You can be allergic or you can have issues, this, that, and the third, but you can still find a way to protect yourself. They have film that's hyperallergenic. You won't get an allergy to it. All sorts of protection in place prior to this baby being conceived. We all get wrapped up in the moment. I understand that. But think about this next time you do. Do I really want to take a chance and bring a child into this? Do I really want a baby? Because that's really what could happen. Anyway, but for her to sit there and say that she's had a miscarriage and she knows what it's like to be blessed and lucky enough and fortunate enough to be able to make her own decisions about this baby or these babies that she's bonded with in utero, makes her feel especially lucky, blah, blah, blah. What a crock. It's political. If it was political to say we're no longer going to make red Solo cups, they're going to be purple from now on, she's going to step out and speak against the purple Solo cups. It's going to be all about politics. It's whatever benefits her, keeps her name going. As far as Harry being upset about it, he doesn't have a dog in the fight. He's not even a citizen of the United States. Shut up, big mouth Harry, pea-brain Harry. Go home. Go home and complain about your situations over there. Don't come over here talking crap about our our rulings and our political stuff. You don't have a dog in the fight, dummy. And here's what I learned, and this really, really ticks me off. She doesn't even realize that what she's fighting for, as far as women's rights, quote unquote, and their protection that needs to be set in place. First off, let me say this real fast. I'm a victim of rape. I've never hidden that from anybody. It's in a testimony that I gave a year or so more, whatever, ago. I talk about what I've been through, blah, blah, blah. Had I gotten pregnant as a result of that rape, I would have kept the child. Why? Because the child would be innocent. I don't care if it had the genetics of a rapist. It would have my genetics also. And only God can determine life and not life. And so I wasn't going to play God in that situation. Thank the Lord that no pregnancy resulted of that rape. However, had it resulted, had I become pregnant, yes, I would have kept that child. So protection, different strokes for different folks, I guess. You know what I'm saying? It's up to you. It's your business, not me and mine. So, I live my life between me and God, and, somebody else can live their life the way they want to. So it's not my business. But I'm just going to say this. What she's fighting for as far as women's rights is this. In the 20s, how abortion even became a situation is because they wanted to start breeding thoroughbreds, white folks. They wanted black people to have the options to have their children aborted. They didn't want anything to do with quote-unquote Negroes, okay? They wanted these people that they absolutely disrespected on every level, from owning them as slaves and beating them and disrespecting them and dragging them and treating them subpar and like animals. They put that in place. They wanted to create a thoroughbred race. They didn't want anything to do with the black community. They didn't want these, as they called them, morons and imbeciles, to procreate any further. They were trying to use abortion to downplay, to get rid of the population, to thin out the population. You see, it's called the case for sterilization. They even thought about putting the birth control stuff in their water, in their food, any way to thin out the black population. That's what abortion started for. And I want to say thank you, NIKKI, for bringing this to my attention. And you guys can go and see the trailer. I haven't watched the video in full, but you can see the trailer at www.maafa21.com. Okay, it's not something that I've made up. It is what it is. Will a drink of water provide birth control in the future? And that's simply for the black folks, the black community. Okay, so that's what she's fighting for. What started as genocide for the African American community. And I take complete offense to this. You know what I'm saying? And she ought to, being biracial her own self, she ought to feel a damn shame is what she ought to do. She ought to crack open some history and start reading. And she needs to read a little closer to the Roe versus Wade overturned judgment. That needs to be read up on also, because she comes out swinging her bat and she doesn't even have a ball to hit. You see what I'm saying? She's quite dumb when it comes to most things that I've noticed her do. She's embarrassing. And Lord help us if ever she was to get president of the United States, as so-and-so was talking about. I believe it was Biden's sister. If I'm wrong, correct me. But it was somebody affiliated with our president or our vice president who suggested she be the next president. I nearly fell off my chair that day. Anyway, it's a whole shame. This whole situation is a shame. Her coming out talking, influencing young people, that bothers me also. Leave our young people out of this. I don't think 12, 13, and 14-year-olds should have, autonomy. I don't think it should be to where they could walk in somewhere and be completely anonymous and their parents not know what's going on. That's what's wrong with this place, man. We've lost control of our future, our children. Anyway, that's another subject for another day. I just wanted to bring this to your attention. I'm sorry I got so long-winded. It's just something that really bothered me, and I thought I'd bring it to your attention. And nothing's changed. Don't let the government fool you. Since 1970s, 19 million African American babies have been aborted. In fact, 79% of abortion clinics are located in minority neighborhoods. 21% are in other neighborhoods, other communities, other as in non-African American. So they're still up to their same old game, y'all. It's just more people choose not to see it, not to know about it, not to listen to it. It's a shame. It's a shame. 19 million innocent African American babies have been aborted. That's a big number. Sure is. Again, thank you to Jazmyn, Shoshana, NIKKI, and Cleondra. I appreciate everything you've done for me. I'll see you soon. We'll talk fast. Stay safe. Be blessed. Know that I love you. And I'm sorry I got so passionate and long-winded. I just wanted to bring this to your attention. God bless.